This episode I recorded last year with my fellow brothers of the Podcast Apocolypse, Mike Hill and Ralph Schmidt. We talk about our favorite, scariest moments from TV and film. We were inspired by the killer Shudder 101 scariest movie moments from last year. I think we have a few deep cut picks that you're really going to dig, and hopefully some new stuff that you never heard of before. So, yeah, hope you enjoy that. And after you're done with this episode, make sure you check out my fellow Horseman of the Podcast Apocolypse, Everything Went Black podcast, Into the Necrosphere, the Necromaniacs podcast, Iblis Manifestations, and the Soul Nugs podcast. Thanks so much, and also don't forget to follow me on social media. Brandon Legion 666 on Facebook, and also Harwolf 666 on Facebook. And that's pretty much the same for Twitter and also Instagram. So thanks so much, and take care. All right. Today I am joined by the great Mike Hill and Ralph Schmidt, and we're going to be talking our top 6 favorite horror moments. And that can include TV, movies, whatever. So this is going to be a really good one. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's getting to be the latter part of autumn, with the mightiest season, winter looming ahead of us. So yeah, I'm doing okay.
Yes, I'm over here, getting ready for Unholy Passion Fest, which is in 2 weeks, and where Mike and I finally, after what feels like 20 years, see each other again.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. And like Mike said, finally, fall. I guess we're all fall guys here, like not the movie majors fall guys, but like fall enthusiasts. Mm-hmm. And for us, like here, it was super warm. I was running around in a t-shirt like 2 weeks ago, and now like all the leaves have fallen and it's gray and cold. So like the actual fall was like a week, and now it's winter, or winter is coming. Huh. Yeah, but it's good. Yeah.
That's really cool with the Unholy Passion stuff, man. I wish I could come with you. It sounds like it's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, we have something special in store, which you will only see as a video, I assume. But yes, it's so next year maybe, like the Horseman Podcast Apocolypse Horseman crew at Unholy Passion Fest. Like everybody comes out, like Pat Carl and like Jackie can come over, and Mike Scandato and Jeff.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I'm really looking forward to getting out of the country, and hanging out, seeing some great music, running and seeing some great friends, like hanging out with Ralph. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm a bit jealous, but y'all going to have a killer time. And like you said, hopefully maybe next year, if everything aligns right, like we can make this happen, all this join up over there and stuff. That'd be fucking cool as hell.
Hey, dude, like the craziest thing happened. Like there's we have like a guy here in the Department of Cultural Work in the city of Cologne, and he's a big Ultha fan, and so I spoke to him because we got an offer to fly out to the UK next year for a festival, and like the guy says like I can pay you like $1,000, but like for $1,000 you can fly 5 people over and do everything properly. So he was like, the Cologne guy was like, oh, so yeah, there's a budget for bands that want to fly out of the country to play shows, and we arrange everything. It's like, really? And he's like, yeah, I did. Like, I was responsible for Holygram, which was like one of Cologne's best post-punk bands we ever had. They flew out for a tour in the States for 3 weeks with V&V Nation, and they paid everything. They got like 50 grand from the city to fly them out, pay for everything. So I was like, so you'd also do American stuff? It's like, yeah. I was like, okay, let's talk. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I'm working on that. So maybe like finally, because we always get asked like, when does Ultha come to the States? So maybe finally we can make it happen in some form or another. And then Mike, that Toombs and Ultha has to roll,
Oh, totally, man. That'd be great. That'd be perfect. Maybe next summer or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be total badass. I'll drive out wherever you're playing. I don't give a shit how many miles it is. We'll be there. So
we'll play your living room, man.
Man, my neighbor would love that. I live next to a really shitty ass fucking I guess you would call her a Karen. So
Oh
anytime
no.
I'm down there like lifting weights or whatever, if I have my music just a little bit too loud, which ain't loud at all, I could really blast that shit. She's like, "Oh, you need to turn your bass down and stuff." So I would love that. Just fucking knock her fucking walls off.
We'll play a Manowar cover set.
Dude, as I'm sitting here right now, I have two full stacks next to me, and I got enough tube power in here to fucking knock down some walls. If I really want to be a dick, I would take all this to the other side next to her wall and turn all that on one day, man. Just wreck her whole house would be wrecked, man. I'm telling you.
I'm
Maybe
just
one day.
I'm just imagining like the opening for the black and white video of Michael Jackson with Macaulay Culkin, but it's just you blasting the walls and it's her flying out, not his dad.
That would be amazing. If I ever win the lottery, I'm definitely gonna do that because I wouldn't give a fuck then. I have enough money. Who cares? I'm gonna have some fun. Before we get started to with their top six lists and stuff, have y'all seen anything cool recently?
Yeah, man. I've seen quite a bit of stuff. Actually, I'm really digging the new American Horror Story. Believe it or not, I know that's people are gonna think I'm some sort of incel like weirdo for liking that show, but I really do like it. And the Gaspar Noé Ex Eterna is that's on Shutter right now, and I'm a big Gaspar Noé fan, and has probably one of my favorite French actresses ever, Beatrice Dalle, and Charlotte Gainsbourg are both in that. And yeah, those are two things that come to mind right away.
Oh damn, I didn't know that was on Shutter already. I need to check that out. And
Yeah.
I'm also a fan of American Horror Story too. I don't give a shit who doesn't like her or whatever, fuck him, whatever. But I've always been a fan of American Horror Story. Like some seasons are weaker than others, but overall it's a cool show. And this new season is really fucking awesome. I just finished the last two episodes the other night. So if you haven't finished the season finale yet, pretty cool. And it goes out there.
I'm a little behind. I still have I'm like halfway through with it right now, but I'm probably gonna wrap it up this weekend.
I love the cruising vibes too it has going on with it.
Yeah, straight up, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, man, I backed out of that in the second season, and like I always hear. I mean, it's been a topic on Necro like a bunch of times, so I might like head into this and watch this. But dude, like, there's so much fucking shit going on in shows this year. I mean, Mike and Jeff and the other Mike, like, you always talk about like how good of a year this was for horror. It's also like the shows and the music, man. This like off the charts. It's I'm like, I have a list of like all the shows I watched, and movies I watched, and records that came out in my phone. It's so long, and there's so much good stuff. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I still got shit I need to catch up on. Like I haven't watched Pearl yet. Everybody's been telling me how good Pearl is, and I want to watch Pearl, so it's on my list, coming up. But there's, like I said, there's so many good things out there, especially TV wise. If y'all haven't watched Interview with the Vampire, I know you might not be an Anne Rice fan or whatever. Even if you're not, I think this is still appeal to you. It's man, one of the best shows out this year. Interview with the Vampire. It's like 8 episodes. It's already done right now, so you can go ahead and let's binge all of them. But it's brutal, man. It's so good.
Actually, both Jeff and Mike have seen it, and they both recommended it. So I'm probably gonna at least check it out. Like I'm not, for some reason, I just never caught in on with the Anne Rice stuff, and but I'm definitely gonna check it out because everyone's telling me that it's a really cool series.
Yeah, I have to dig into that too. Of course, over here, Ralph and the illegal downloads. So I have to download it again, the same as with Let the Right One In, and it's all sitting in my hard drive. So I have to watch through this. But there's like something came out on Thursday, I think. Yeah, on Thursday, which I was looking for very much too. And I blasted through the first half of the season, and it's unfucking believably good. And that's 1899.
Oh yeah, let me see that.
Yeah, it's from the guys that made Dark, and it has the same lead actor, and dude, like it has everything you want. It has like It's on the ocean. It has like a ghost ship. It has Event Horizon vibes. It has Alien vibes. It has Lovecraftian vibes. It has a super strong cast. Super like many languages being spoken, so it's like really entertaining and interesting. The quality is fucking out there. It's it's everything I was hoping for. It's like the same mystery. You have to really pay attention and like I have to remember names and shit. So like for Dark, I had to print out a family tree, so I like did mix up the characters. It's kind of like this too. So again, it's like I made the statements on Instagram like last week that like Netflix should probably focus more on German productions because Dark is hands down one of the best things that they ever did. And 2 weeks ago, All Is Quiet on the Western Front came out, which is also fucking stunning. And now 1899. So really digging that.
Yeah, I want to get Dark on Blu-ray, man. I want to get like a hard copy of that so I can watch it with subtitles for sure.
Yeah. It's really good. And I mean the thing is, again, what I love is like as with like Angelo Badalamenti and David Lynch, and you've got like other like movie producers or show producers that work together with like musicians, and they always have like this symbiosis. It's the same thing here with Ben Frost, who did the score for Dark, and he also did the score for 1899. So it's like a perfect match again.
Nice. Yeah, that's going on my list as of right now. And the thing with Netflix, they never really promote their shit. And like I didn't even know nothing about this till yesterday when I was watching something else on Netflix. This like 1899 thing popped up on there, like something I might like. I'm like, where the hell did this come from?
Oh, dude, you will not just like it, you will love it. It's so up our alleys, man. It's really good.
Nice. And another strong way to end a year when it comes to TV stuff that's been coming out, So I'm looking forward to that.
Dude, like it like that this year blew out of the gates with oh fuck, what was the name? Archive 81. And like that was the first show like in the new year, and now it goes out with a banger with 1899. Yeah.
Did y'all follow the podcast of Archive 81 as well?
I did after your recommendation, but I like dropped out in the second season because it was so weird.
Yeah, I checked it out too, man. I thought it was pretty cool. There's a lot of episodes, man. I'm trying to get through a lot of it too.
I think they ended it up, if I'm not mistaken. I went through all of them. Like I said, it does get really fucking weird, especially during like the second, third season. It goes way out there, which I like. I like really strange things, but I don't know if they're going to continue it. I think they want to do something else. I don't know, but it was really cool. And hopefully, well, I think did they already cancel Archive 81 for the second season? I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah, it's canceled, and it's such a shame.
I have no idea why they did that. Apparently, it was like super popular too, and it just left you on a cliffhanger for the most part,
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, Brandon, I have to give you just props for that recommendation, the Nick Cutter book, The Deep.
Yeah.
So good, man. I like devoured that book in like a few days. It was so good. Really appreciate that recommendation.
Oh, hell yeah. That's one of my favorites, favorite books I've checked out in a while, man. And I also checked out his other book. I think he's got a few out there. The other one was called like The Scout or something like that, or Scout Crew or some shit. There's a bunch of kids on a bunch of scouts on an island and stuff, and shit goes downhill, and it's like a lot of body horror and stuff like that. I can't think of the exact name of it. I thought it was like Scout or something, but anything Nick Cutter does, I would say check out. So
yeah, definitely, I'm a fan. I'm going to be digging into his other books.
I'm reading the kind of the novelization of Fright Night, but it also contains some like stuff from before, like so it's kind of a prequel too. It's thrown in with the the stuff you've seen from the movie, but this has a lot of prequel stuff involved in it, and it's on It's always hard to say this. Encyclopedia Apocalypse or whatever. Check them out. They're so hard to say, man. I have to write it down to say it, but they do a lot of like movie novelizations and stuff, and a lot of like original work. But this is really cool. I recommend it. If you can check it out, it's called shit. I can find the name up real quick. It's the Fright Night novelization. It just came out, but I highly recommend checking that out. It's really cool.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
Definitely
you get
like
to get
flight.
some backstory on how things became what it's supposed to be, like all, more vampire lore and stuff like that. It's cool. Okay, it's called Fright Night Origins. So that's pretty easy to remember.
Right on.
So yeah, and that was written by Tom Holland and Jack Ulrich. So check that one out. All right. Well, if y'all are ready, we can start our top 6 favorite scary moments from film, TV, or whatever. So if you're down with that.
Yeah, but gentlemen, I would like to ask a question before we start with this.
Yes.
Check your list and tell me how many of these things you wrote down are stuff that came out after where you were young, like more contemporary.
Oh, that's a good one. Let's see here. Most of the stuff that I got on my list is when I was younger, at least probably like 16 and under, pretty much. I don't really have anything new, except for one. My number 5 is going to be a new one that came out a few years ago, but everything else is pretty older,
One in my top 6, and then 2 in my runner-ups. Are like in my adult life.
It's the same here. There's I just found like one really newer stuff that made it into the top 6. There's in the runner-ups just like some more modern stuff. But yeah, my thesis is, before we get going with this, it's like, I think the shit that, like the stuff that scared the shit out of us happened when we were young, and it really phrased the stuff that really speaks to us nowadays, Like, I think the movies nowadays that come out that scare me have something in common with the stuff that scared me when I was young. It's like, do you agree?
Definitely. Yeah, I agree totally, man. But also it's like when you're a kid, you're still forming your your imagination, and the veil between real and fantasy is very thin.
Yeah.
And you're still trying to figure out what's real and what's not real. I think when you're like young, and you might have certain fears that are part of this, like, kind of like primordial, like collective consciousness that you just have like genetically or something,
Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
And then it's definitely a good move for parents to take you to a cinema and watch The Exorcist.
Yeah, just like my mom did when I was like 4.
Wow, yeah, like you're saying, like you get a better impression of things when you're younger like that, because nothing new scares me. I haven't really been scared of I haven't been scared of film in many years. Life's a lot more scary than anything on film, unfortunately. So
Sure.
It takes a lot to really scare me, and I don't scare easy. So like I said, a lot of stuff is from like teenage years on down. So.
Yeah, but it's like sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think that nowadays there's a lot more like kind of conceptually profound things that I respond to, as opposed to like being scared like on a visceral level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like I always look for that rush, like that adrenaline from scenes that really scare me, and that doesn't happen that often. And then there's like, I watch movies and there might be just like one scene, and that's cool that we do this, like not the movies that in total scared us, but like the scenes, because some of the scenes are like out of things that like in total are not that scary, but like the scenes were. And then on my list is like, for example, The Omen, my like 2 of my favorite horror movies, The Omen 1 and 2. They don't have like that one scene that scares me, but like the whole vibe of the movie is so fucking scary because of the score and the obscure optics. And it's just like, I don't know, but there's like these movies, and like on my list is like stuff where I watch this, think the movie is okay, and then the one thing happens and it triggers all the right spots, and then you have goosebumps and think like, oh fucking shit, this works.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So I guess we can start. We'll go with Ralph first, and Mike, get you next, and I'll go last. So we'll start from our number 6 and work our way up number 1, if you're down with that.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay. Number 6. Matching to where I started, because we had in Germany on RTL, which is like a TV station, we had a program which was like a fake Elvira. It was kind of like a German equivalent, and she introduced like some horror movies, and one of the first ones I saw, and still to this day one of my favorites, is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. And especially the scene which I chose as my number 6 is the Debbie scene, which is Debbie is the fitness enthusiast, and she's working out in her room, lifting, like pushing weights, and all of a sudden Freddy appears above her and pushes her weight down, and she says, "I don't believe in you," and he's like, "But I believe in you." And then he starts pushing against her until her arms break, like at the spine of the arm, which is already terrible. But she, like in the course of the movie, it's established that she's afraid of cockroaches. And then in that nightmare, she ends up in a roach motel, and she falls down into that like glue thing. And then it's like that was my first experience with body horror. So she turns into that cockroach, and like her skin gets ripped off, and then all of a sudden you see Freddy's eye looking into that roach motel, and that scene to this day gives me the creeps because of the music and her like screaming in agony and her skin peeling off, and she's transforming like almost Kafkaesque. She's turning into that bug, and that just that still gives me the creeps.
Oh, dude, I totally agree with that. I'm not a fan of roaches at all, and like the roach arms and all coming out of her arms is so fucking freaky, man.
Yeah.
Well, being a native New Yorker, I definitely don't have any kind of fondness for cockroaches either. So I can totally relate to that.
We got things in South Carolina. I don't know. You probably have them in New York too. It's probably a whole East Coast thing, but they call them water bugs. But they're just giant cockroaches, and they fly.
Oh man, the ones down there fly. They
fly. Yeah,
I know that in Florida there's like palmetto bugs, which I imagine are similar to that.
That's the same thing. That's what we have here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those suck, dude. I can remember days downstairs as a kid in my little basement room and stuff, watching movies, and you see this like shape fly by your head, and it's like a fucking 3-inch cockroach flying at you, man. It's like
God, dude, we don't have them here, like we don't have cockroaches. And I saw them the first time when I was on vacation with my parents in Spain. Like we did a vacation there on an island. And it was super hot, and all of a sudden, like in our bathtub, like 2 or 3 cockroaches crawled out, and that was after I saw like Nightmare on Elm Street. So I almost pissed my pants because it was so like, no,
they're coming to get you, man.
Yeah, dude.
And there's something worse than cockroaches that we have in the South too, but mostly I think Florida and stuff like the more tropical areas. But millipedes, man. I don't know if you've ever seen any millipedes, but they're horrifying. They got like 1 million legs, and they can get up to like 13 inches long or some shit. I may be exaggerating, but I've seen like crazy ass videos of giant millipedes, and they will hurt you. They have these giant pinchers and stuff, man. They're just horrifying.
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that because there was a scene like that in the Deep, the book that Nick Cutter book, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, what a harrowing experience that must be, man.
Oh, Mike, do you remember KTS Freiburg when you played with Anodyne?
Vaguely, yes, I do.
Yeah, it's like one of the oldest punk squat places that we have here, and it's still to this day like smoking in the venue is like mandatory for the speed cross people, and it's like we played there with planks, like one of our last shows. And we were sleeping in there. They have like sleeping bed, like these bunk beds as all the punk places. And I went upstairs to drop my bag, and there's a couch in the room, and I was just like hanging out because there was no smoking. All of a sudden, someone came in and it's like, "Oh, you have to be careful." I was like, "What is it? Why is that?" "Oh yeah, we had like a Spanish crust band, and they were so filthy. Now we have these centipedes here." It was like, "What?"
Oh man,
it's like, what? How did that happen? And then I was sitting on the couch, and literally like a minute later, there was one that passed my past my foot, and I have a size 15 shoe, and that thing was longer than my shoe. And it was like, okay, I'm not sleeping here, man. It's like,
Yeah,
That's
fuck
scary.
that.
Yeah.
Hey. All right, so I guess Mike, you're next.
This one is pretty obvious. It's going back to 1974. So this is speaking of Ralph's, hypothesis about early memories and stuff like that. So this is from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The scene where Grandpa has his hammer, and they're trying to coerce him into bashing Sally in the head with the hammer over the bucket. Okay. Now that gave me, as a young kid, I was horrified at that. And that, once again, this is a videotape my mom brought home from the video store. We were watching this as a family. And it's so crazy to say that, but I was like, I'm so happy that my mom still watches horror films. She was just telling me that she just ran through the entire Omen series on HBO Max recently.
Cool.
But yeah, that scene, I was like, I remember just the anxiety of wanting it to be over. All right, hit her in the head, man. Just get it over with, or have her escape or something. Just don't just being stuck on that precipice was so fucking excruciating.
Yeah, that's a hell of a scene. I mean, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, still holds up so well, and it's still one of the best horror films ever fucking made. I mean, I do a yearly rewatch, and I usually go through the first 3. Or maybe 4, I think first 3. And that first one, man, it's so visceral and dirty, and it's fucking, because it really was that way on set. They're working out there in 100-degree weather and stuff, no showers. I think Leatherface wore the same shit every day, so you just feel that grit and dirtiness of this film. It feels so realistic.
It's it must have been going to see Watain play, you know what I mean, with all the dead animals and smell and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen Hellgoat live, and I can't remember. I think it was in Denver, and you could the whole venue to smell the rotting fucking animals, dude, and all the way to the back, all the way to the front. It didn't matter where you walked, but when Hellgoat played, it was nothing but fucking yeah. And we're friends with the driver who was driving their tour and stuff. He's a good friend of ours. He was just explaining how bad it smelled, even through the fucking trailer where they kept all dead animals and stuff. He could still smell it in the van on their clothes, and all he said, he was about to fucking die.
Yeah, it's I saw Watain on that tour with Destroyer 666 after Lawless Darkness came out. And it was still when they were playing smaller clubs. And I was like, oh yeah, man, I'm going first row. And then they the road crew came out with these metal cases, and they took out the vests. I'm like, oh God. And then it's the rats flew onto the stage. I'm like, okay, I'm going back to the bar and just watch it from there. Oh, it's terrible. But that's the feeling I get from watching Texas Chainsaw. Watching the new one on Netflix, it just makes me feel guilty for the shit they pull because it's so terrible, and I want to take a shower because it's so bad. But with the original Texas Chainsaw, it's this grimy ass movie. And I remember, Mike, I suggested to you to watch The Golden Glove, that German movie.
Yes, absolutely, man.
Yeah, and that's one of this feeling you just want to take a shower because it's so dirty. And that the first Texas Chainsaw left the same feeling with me. It was probably the first one I saw that gave me this oh my God, I feel uncomfortable. I want to take a shower.
Is that still on Shudder? Because I've been trying to get Jeff and or Mike to watch that so we can talk about it on Necromaniacs, but no one seems to bite on it. And maybe you and I should talk about it.
Dude, I'm game. If you need me, I always want to spread the word about that movie because again, it's a really extraordinary production for Germany, and also because everything's talking about the serial killers, and now with the Dahmer thing. And I think as much Dahmer had this dirt in it. It was well produced, but it was still grimy. But the Golden Glove is next level disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
also
totally.
a true story too, right? Basically, based on a true story.
Yes, correct. And I actually been to the Golden Glove. When we played Hamburg the last time, I went in there, and it's just the people look exactly the same way as in that movie.
Wow.
Hamburg always reminds me of like New York in the 80s, man. Like it's like,
Yeah,
like Hamburg is definitely the grimiest city in Germany, I think.
yeah. Some parts of it, at least. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I need a shower just hearing that from just going back and remembering watching the Golden Glove. Like it's a great movie, but god damn, man, there's no romanticizing, how a lot of these serial killers movie kind of romanticize the killer and stuff. And let's get this guy to plan with the Golden Glove. It's just fucking nasty and fucking, just brutal, dude.
Yeah. Eating the sausage eating scenes, like yeah.
That ruined my weekend. You get those kind of films that kind of ruin your weekend. That was one of them. I put that up there with Gummo. Gummo also ruined my weekend one weekend. Like God, one's enough. Like they're great films, but one viewing is enough. Like I'm good for a lifetime.
Yeah, that's for me. It's the new Texas Chainsaw on Netflix. I like that ruined my weekend as well, but in a different version. Like I was just pissed.
I think the only parts I like with the new Texas Chainsaw are the kill scenes. But like after I watched it, things like, oh, this is cool. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, oh, that part kind of sucked. It's a lot. I do that with a lot of these like newer films. Like I get real hyped up on. I'm like, oh, cool, this is gonna be great. But the more I think about it, more I'm like, oh, that wasn't very good.
Yeah. Same with Hellraiser, but like there's this one scene that actually like stuck with me, and that's the one where her like truck crashes into that poppy field. And you see like him coming out through the fields, and just that graphic looked so fucking stunning and cool. But everything after that was a complete mess.
Yeah, it was rough. Maybe one day they can do Texas Chainsaw in honor and like make a decent film. But until then, we got a lot of crap to deal with.
Yeah.
Also, the best way to watch original Texas Chainsaw, if it's still up on Shudder, is with Joe Bob. He did this Thanksgiving massacre type marathon, like when he first started doing his marathons on Shudder. During his comeback, he did like this 24-hour long marathon. It was a brutal one, but it was so good. And it focused on Texas Chainsaw. I think that's like one of the best ways to watch it because he's such a fucking he knows everything about Texas Chainsaw. It's one of his favorite films, and just hearing him give you all this like down low intro, info and stuff on it is just fucking amazing.
Yeah, I saw that too, man. That was pretty. I saw that when it was streaming like live. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really killer. Hopefully it's still up because I like to go back and revisit that one with Joe Bob's commentary and stuff. It's just so well done. All right, so we are down to my number 6. My number 6 is not necessarily a scene, but it's an intro that always like struck fear in my heart as a kid. Like as soon as this would play, I know like shit's going down now. But that's gonna be Tales from the Dark Side, the TV series. All right, the opening intro with that fucking crazy ass like bright and shiny looking like graphic they were used, and everything goes to dark. Even the soundtrack itself, everything just kind of like slows down and goes to darkness. And in the open intro had the line of man lives in a sunlit world of what he believes to be reality, but there is unseen by most an underworld, a place that is just real but not as brightly lit, a dark side. And that always freaked me out. Like you knew you were in for some shit. And it just always stayed with me as a kid, even in my teenage years. Even now, like I can still vividly remember that intro to Tales from the Dark Side. And, it definitely scarred me in a good way, I guess, because it kind of really opened me up to horror because that was like back in the 80s when this came out. And I was watching it probably when I was like 5 or 6, really young and stuff. But yeah, that intro got me.
Well done, man. That's actually a good call. I also felt the same way about the intro. That's pretty awesome.
And I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of it.
Oh, you got some research to do on this one because a lot of good things with Tales from the Dark Side, the TV series. I think they did a movie too, and the movie's cool, but the TV series is way better. So wherever you can find it at, like check it out. Like a lot of really killer directors did different episodes. I think Toby Hooper did some. I think Spielberg did some maybe, but it's just really good. It's a horror anthology. Nothing's connected. Nice. Everything's a different thing, but really fucking cool, man.
Put it on my list. Nice.
Yeah, childhood terror. Like And just those words and all the stuff being spoken, and plus that music, that's a hell of a combo.
Mm.
But yeah, that's my number 6 is the intro to Tales from the Dark Side.
Now I have the Biohazard song in my head.
Tales from the Hard Side.
Yeah. Tales from the Dark Side.
I was listening to that song the other day, lifting weights, man. You can't get more pumped without some Biohazard, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah. Dude, like that, I spoke to Mike about it. I'm like so burned out right now because of work and all the shit that happened and all this stuff. Like my head is a complete in a weirdo space. So like sometimes like this, like you're talking about Tales from the Dark Side, and it's like in my head, it's like Tales from the Dark Side. And so it's like this morning I woke up, and because I was like DJing yesterday and it was like went to bed at 5 in the morning. And it's like a rabbit dream and shit. And I woke up and I had the fucking Spider-Man TV show theme, like from the cartoon show. But it was just like Horror Wolf 666, Horror Wolf 666. I'm like, dude, it's like I really have to take a break, man. My head is not in the right place right now.
Well, new theme song for me. That's cool. I dig
it.
All right. So Ralph, you're number 5.
Okay, number 5, 1996 Mulholland Drive, the bar scene, the diner scene.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it's it's just like David Lynch, like dude, like he always strikes a nerve with me. Like his stuff is like always delirious, and I was like when Paul and Mike did that episode on on movies that were like, dude, I'm missing the adjective now. What disturbing. Disturbing, right? Yeah, that's like kind of like the feeling that I got from a lot of like watching David Lynch stuff. And like I remember being in the cinema for Mulholland Drive, and then it's like he's like this brooding, like droney sound, and he's like, "Oh, I had this dream." And he talks about it, and they go out, and the pacing is really slow. And he explains, like, he pretty much explains exactly what will happen. And the thing with David Lynch is, like, where some, like, the classic horror movie producers or directors, they tend to, like, tease something, and you as, like, a horror fan expect something to happen, and then it doesn't happen, and you turn around, and there's the jump scare. He does exactly what will be coming, but he does it in slow motion, and it's just so painful. And when he's like walking towards this and he starts shaking, and then it's like you see the corner coming closer, and it's going closer and closer, and then the hobo is coming around the corner, heart attack, instantaneous heart attack, and one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
It's that nightmare feeling that David Lynch nails with all his stuff, either it's like Twin Peaks or whatever he's doing, like it always feels like you're trapped in a nightmare. And that scene in particular really like hit me hard too. Like that is total like nightmare shit, man. Like, and he just fucking nails it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, David Lynch is definitely one of the masters of creating that nightmare world.
Yeah. And that's
Also,
what I'm. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just saying, I got to talk with Bonnie Aarons, who played the hobo and stuff, and I told her how awesome that scene was. I'm like, that one really fucked up a lot of people. And she's like, oh, that's good.
That's so fucking cool.
I remember listening to that episode, man. That was really cool. And she was. I didn't realize that. I mean, until I heard that episode, I didn't realize that it was the same actress from like other stuff that she'd done either.
Yeah, she's just got done wrapping up The Nun too, which I'm not a big fan of The Nun stuff or whatever. It's cool. I like her part. I like the way The Nun looks. The rest of the movie's kind of like weird for me. It doesn't really do too much, but I think her part's really cool. But yeah, she's super nice, man. Really awesome. And she stays in contact with me via like Twitter and Facebook. We're friends on there and stuff. And I want to talk to her again, hopefully next year and stuff, because she's really interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, it's like when we started and spoke about like the formative years, and I still to this day don't know where it came from, but like when I was 12 or 13, I started having these like vivid nightmares, and they kind of always revolve around the same stuff. And it's like what David Lynch does, like triggers these points, And so everything that has something to do with nightmares always resonates with me. And that's probably because that's why Nightmare on Elm Street was so fucking scary. The idea of like being killed in your sleep and then it's like you're dead in the real world. And the stuff that David Lynch does is like, yeah, that's like always when it involves this dreamy kind of atmosphere. Yeah, I'm always in that. And you will see like in the next four, there will be more stuff in that vein that shocked me. But like, yeah, that one still to this day, like when I dread watching the movie because I know this will happen, you know?
Yeah, you know what's coming, you know.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so Mike, you're number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is a Sam Raimi film, 1981's Evil Dead. And the specific scene is when Cheryl is running through the woods and gets penetrated by the tree branch.
Mm.
Yeah. I like what, as you know, once again, consistent with Ralph's treatise about this whole thing. I was a young kid. We were watching this on VHS. It was during the day, actually. I think it was like one of those periods of time, maybe like around the Christmas break or something. And a friend of mine was over the house and we were watching it. And it's that scene. I'd never seen anything like that before when I was a kid, for obvious reasons. And it was just so like going further than I'd ever been taken before by a movie. And just the brutality of that scene and the fact just that movie seemed like it actually was real, like when you're a young kid watching it, you're like, well, who are these people? Who are these actors and actresses? It's like, they just look like regular people that I see at the diner or something, or, you know what I mean? And it seems really powerful for me.
Yeah, that whole movie is fucking dark. I mean, with the second one, how they kind of almost remade and added more comedy to it. Like that first one's just pretty much straight up dark and fucked up. Yeah,
totally. And quick aside, the kid that watched it with us was so scared that he didn't want to walk home, and so we had to drive him back to his house.
Wow.
That whole franchise is like, even like Ash vs. Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, even though that's like complete corny, and it's still cool. Like I still like it, the way it looks, everything. But the first Evil Dead, yeah, that also like really scared me when I was young. And it was one of these things, like where people, like older kids, come to you and they want to like, oh yeah, do you know that movie that happens? And I just remember like people, yeah, there's a tree raping a woman. It's like, what? And it's like, then when I first saw it, I'm like, I was like already scared because of like the demon in the basement and the blood and like the violence. But it was always like, this, okay, this is looking so weird. And then the tree chase scene came and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's the real deal. Yeah.
Another thing too is like, even by the time I saw that film, I'd already started reading like Conan and Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard, and the whole thing with the Necronomicon and the book was already stuff that was like kind of in my mind at that point too. So like, is the Necronomicon a real book? Like, you just as a young kid, you're like I said, you don't know what's real and what's not real sometimes, and that movie just is always to this day still makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said there. And as you say that, I sit next to my giant box set of Evil Dead stuff I just bought. Like I got the first 2 movies plus the whole TV series and stuff. I sent you that link, Mike. I think you ended up getting it too.
I did. Yeah, I picked it up, man. It's great. I highly recommend it, man. It's excellent.
I don't even want to take it out the box. It's pretty bad. So I won't take it out.
What's your feeling on the remake?
I liked it. I dug it. I went to the theaters to see that one, and I got to witness everybody start to cringe whenever they started doing the turkey cutter scene where she was cutting her arm off. The turkey slicer thing or whatever that was. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I like it too, man. It's like real, like nihilistic, man. Like there's like no, it's just relentless. You know what I mean? And it's just a different type of take on it. And I kind of was wishing they would do more like along like sequels or something. One of the few times I actually wanted to see a sequel,
Right. That's the same feeling here. It's like that's one of like all these remakes they did. And I completely forgot that they redid The Thing at some point, like a third time. where they wanted to finish the trilogy, which never happened then. But with Evil Dead, it was like I was in the cinema. It was one of these. Oh yeah, I mean it's €4. Like I'm alone on Monday. I just go, and I was like really entertained, and I thought it was really well done. It was brutal. It was nihilistic, and I thought like yeah, like they could continue with that. It's like one of the few times, also with Suspiria, which I really liked the remake. But that's rare these days. Like most of them are terrible. But like the Evil Dead one, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, totally. That's one of the best remakes ever, I think. The direction they took it in and how brutal it is. And they did their own thing with it instead of like taking a lot of these films they do now, like say a foreign film comes out, then we do like American remake and it's the same exact film. I'm like, you didn't do anything different. You're just fucking, it's lazy.
Yeah, terrible.
So. All right, well, we're down to my number 5, and this is one of the newer films I was telling you about I would have on the list here. It's 2015's Baskin.
Oh, man, that was a great movie, yeah.
It is. And to narrow it down, like, it starts off like kind of almost like a cop drama type thing, like what the hell am I watching here? Then it just gradually goes downhill to fucking hell. Not downhill in a bad way, but like a downward spiral, And the scene in this one that really got me is towards the end where they get into the house and stuff and they start digging down deeper into this shit that's going on with these ritualistic things, and they stumble upon like the whole like black mass stuff that's going on. And it's like, I don't know, it's like the best parts of like, it has like almost a Hellraiser-ish type feel to it, without all like the S&M stuff. But I don't know, it was just dark and visceral, man, and it really got me. It didn't scare me, but I got that adrenaline rush. They're all down there, and like the main character, like the main, I guess you would call it antagonist that's down there. It kind of looks like a boy, like a young kid. You think he's wearing makeup and stuff, like, oh, that's some crazy ass looking makeup, but supposedly this guy has some kind of like a thing that's wrong with his skin and stuff, where he looks like an old man almost, and add that on top of everything. It's like, God damn it, like this, it's just the imagery, it's like it's just nasty and dark, and this is what I envision, hell as, if I believed in all that stuff, but this would, be hell to me. So
yeah, there's he did another film called Housewife that was really good too. Remember seeing that one. It came out after Baskin. And also, there's a town out here in New Jersey called Baskin Ridge. Like, when I drive by it, I'm like, oh, I'm never going to go in there, man. Who knows what the hell is going to happen to me if I go to Baskin Ridge, New Jersey?
Yikes. Yeah, I think a lot of people ignore Baskin because there's some harsh reviews on like the Internet Movie Database and all, like, oh, this movie sucks and all. But I don't think the people like, the first half of the film's kind of boring because nothing's really going on. But you got to stick with it, and the payoff is amazing. It's one of the best horror movies to come out in like 20 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally. Same with Event Horizon. Like all the websites have like terrible reviews, and to me, it's one of the best things ever.
Oh, hell yeah. I love Event Horizon. It's Hellraiser in space pretty much, and I fucking love that.
Oh.
So I guess we're down to our number 4. That'll be Ralph.
Yes. A lot of like the socialization when it comes to horror movies was because my parents were celebrating with the rest of my family. I mean, my family is not that big. Like I don't have any uncles or aunts. It's just like pretty much was my parents, my sister and I, and my grandparents. And whenever we were there for Christmas or birthdays, it was like family dinner. And then I took off to another room and just watched TV. And I saw a lot of shit that I probably shouldn't have seen because they just showed stuff on TV regularly from 10 p.m. on. I saw The Omen through that, and this movie was like the one that I'm going to talk about now was one of those, and it was I zapped through the TV, which is, I don't know, is that still a thing? Do people still zap? Because or is it just so it was like, okay, wow, what is this? There's a guy with like, let me see like how fast you can get with what movie it is. So there's this guy with a mustache and a trench coat sleeping on a lawn chair in a garden. And all of a sudden this plant is moving next to him and it's making these wobbly sounds, and there's this tiny it looks like tendrils or something touching him, and then all of a sudden there's this fetus coming out of the plant, and what the fuck is happening here? And all of a sudden you hear this noise, and he's waking up, and there's a doppelganger of him, and I was so terrified. And it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978, Donald Sutherland.
Dude,
sleeping.
so good.
Oh man, like this movie. When you did that episode, Mike, I was like, oh yeah, I have to go back and watch it. I'm like, oh fuck, this is such a good movie. It's the run of Donald Sutherland movies from that time, incredible. But this one especially, and that scene where he tries to protect Elizabeth, and she's up in the room, and so you go get some sleep, and he falls asleep in the garden, and then you see this again body horror, dreamscape, weird ass soundscapes, everything that ticks the Ralph scare boxes.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time, man. It's like, and all the novel's really good too, man. It's like, kind of pulpy horror novel. And Donald Sutherland is just the man, especially in the 70s, man. He got that mustache and that cool like afro, like hair and everything. Yeah.
The ending was really fucking scary for me. It's that last scene where he's like pointing and his like mouth's wide open and stuff. I was like, man, that's fucking freaky, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, so my number 4 is up now, I guess. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, this, mine are actually pretty conventional. It's to come to think of it. There's a couple things on here that I think are going to be a little surprising, but so mine is Night of the Living Dead, 1968's original, because there was a remake of this film done by Tom Savini.
Mm-hmm.
George Romero's original. And the scene that has haunted me is when Helen is attacked by the daughter, Karen, when the house is being overrun and they're in the basement, and that scene where the daughter attacks the mother, and it's like, once again, the young version of myself. This was actually on television, and so I must have been about 9 or 10 when I watched this, and it was like, with commercials, watching this on like Chiller Theater or something like that, and I was like, it was late on a weekend night, and I was staying up watching this, and it was just like the world turned upside down, you know what I mean, with like the child like attacking the mother, and that image is always. I have a poster of just the Karen's face here, just hanging up my wall right here.
Nice.
And always is a haunting image for me.
Absolutely. And it's credible how early that was, like in comparison to that like wave of horror movies in the 70s, that this one was even further like earlier, and it still holds. That's unbelievable, and it still holds up.
I mean, it defined like what modern zombies were, because there was like before that there was the more voodoo based kind of folklore-ish zombies, like I Walked with a Zombie, and those old school films.
Yeah, that's a total good one. They just they showed that on Joe Bob too, I think recently. I don't know if I think they did. I don't know if it was a Halloween thing they did or right before that, but I remember they showed it recently, and it was cool revisiting that one because it still holds up so damn well. Like y'all say, it's like it was done so far back. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting to my number 4, and my number 4 really struck me hard because it's early days of band stuff or whatever. We're having to practice and stuff. We get done with practice. We usually like watch a movie late at night and stuff. When you're real tired, certain films affect you in different ways. So the film we ended up watching that night was a 1990 film, The City of Lost Children.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think it was the best idea, man. It goes like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm tired as hell watching City of Lost Children, and the whole movie altogether is horrifying. Like, the way it's filmed, like those French films that came out during this time, like Delicatessen, The City of Lost Children. There's a couple other ones too that are really good, but they have this look and feel to them, man. It's like otherworldly almost, And the scene that gets me is there's a scene with the main antagonist. I think his name is Crank, and he's sitting there with his like henchmen and stuff, and they have like a baby in a cradle or whatever, and he's trying to steal that baby's dreams because he can't dream on his own, so he has to steal children's dreams. That's the whole point of the film and stuff. And he's sitting there like fucking screaming and like laughing, and just his facial expressions and everything. Like the guy that used to play Crank, which was Daniel Immerfork. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but like his performance, man, was terrifying. Just all his facial expressions, the green tint that he used in City of Lost Children too, like it screamed. It was also like had that David Lynch nightmare fuel type thing, It felt like I was in a fucking nightmare. And watching that after, being super tired and stuff, like it really left an imprint on me.
No, totally, man. It's a great movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, really good.
And young Ron Perlman that's always a bonus. Ron Perlman's awesome, and seeing him like all fucking young and shit, and like, wow, great film. If you haven't seen it, I recommend always. That's a go-to. City of Lost Children. I don't think that one gets enough praise.
Wasn't there like a petition by fans to make a third Hellboy with Ron Perlman? I don't know. Like I thought I read something, because I would back that. I would put down some money for that, because I think the two Ron Perlman Hellboy movies are really good, and they should have been more popular.
Oh, totally. Yeah, especially the second one I really liked. And I think Guillermo del Toro did both of the first two, if I'm not mistaken. So, that connection with him and Ron Perlman, because they did a few other films together in Ron Perlman's younger days. There's a vampire film I'm trying to think of right now that
Kronos.
Yes. Yeah. And Perlman's in that one and stuff. And I don't know, they got a good chemistry. And yeah, I totally agree. I think there should be a third Hellboy, but before Ron gets too old where he can't play the part, I think he can still do it right now. But he is Hellboy to me.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that new one with the guy from Stranger Things was good. Like, it was not terrible, but he nailed like Ron Perlman nailed Hellboy in the whole thing, how he played him. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, and then like I said, the new one wasn't bad. It was decent. I was surprised. I was going in like wanting to hate it. I'm like, oh, this ain't Ron Perlman. This is gonna suck. But I'm like, it's pretty good. I like the story arc they're using for and stuff. But to me, Ron Perlman's the man, and he's Hellboy. So
yeah.
All right, so we're down to what are we down to number 4 now, or hold on a second?
Number 3.
Number 3.
We're going to top threes now.
Yeah. All right, Ralph. So that's all you on number 3.
Yeah. Of course, it's the only modern movie that scared me. So like I don't know if like how the commercials or like advertising machina in America works, but here everything's deemed to be the most scary movie of all times. And so I mean that's the bonkers to me that they did like a scientific research, and Sinister of all movies is supposed to be the scariest movie of all times by like, and just like, okay, no. So
it's a great movie though, but yeah, definitely not the scariest.
No. And I mean, they said it about Malignant, and we all know how not scary Malignant is and all that shit. Yeah. But this one, like, it was presented as that one, and I have to say, of all the newer movies I've seen in recent years, that was the only one that triggered all the right boxes, made me shit my pants, and I even have a tattoo now of that movie. And it's 2018's Hereditary.
Nice.
And to me, again, the stuff of nightmares. As a kid, I was so scared in the dark that like I had to have like this little light that my mom always plugged in the night, which was like this green shining thing. And looking back now, it might have been like the worst idea, because all the shadows were like you could see more shadows, and was just so everything like under the cupboard there was like room, and it was dark there and no light, and it was just terrible. And when let me check the names here, my notes. Where is he? Peter. Yeah. So it's like already at the end of the movie, Peter wakes up, and he goes downstairs. Like he's turning around, is confused where he is, and when he turns to the window, you see his mother Annie like walking along the wall, pretty much like more almost floating, which has a really Exorcist kind of vibe, and that was already fucking scary. I was like, oh no. And then he goes downstairs, finds the charred body of his dad like in front of the fireplace. And then all of a sudden you see like in the right back corner, you see like this no, you first see her, like the mother in the ceiling on the left side. And that is like, okay, like I'm done. My heart is stopping. And then he turns around, but he doesn't see her. But there's this naked adult figurine without a real face in the doorway. And then she attacks and chases him. I was already dead 3 times by that. And then he runs up and hides in the attic. And then she is like stuck to the attic, like to the door, and bangs her head, but like in high speed, like tat, 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 tat. And this is the fucking thing. Like in my nightmares, everything is really fast or really slow. And it's so uncomfortable that in my nightmares, people are like a shadow version of themselves, you know? They have like these pale eyes and shit like this, and this triggered all these boxes. It's like hidden in the dark. You can't really see it. But then she's like up in the attic and you're like up in the ceiling and you're like, oh no, please no. And then she floats down to attack him. And my heart, like this movie, I really love that movie. I've got a King Paimon tattoo on my leg now, and this scene is like from all the modern movies, the scariest one I could think of.
Yeah, that's a good choice, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Hereditary makes an appearance, not on this this main list, but yeah, that one of the better films to come out in the last 10 years, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Didn't like Midsommar though, unfortunately.
Nah. But I have a crazy, because I remember you just talked about this like with Paul, I think. I remember like I didn't really like it that much. I don't know why I have the director's cut. I will never watch this, but I bought it at some point because it was cheap. But like, well, when I was in the cinema to watch that, I don't know if it was like an accident, and still no one could give me that answer. But in like during the course of the movie in cinema, it got hotter and hotter, and I was like, at first, like it was in fall, I think, that came out, and I was like had a jacket on and a sweatshirt. It was like halfway through the movie, I have to remove my jacket. It's so warm in here, and it was like packed, and it was always bright sunshine on screen, and it's like, okay, like then like 15 or 20 minutes later, it's like I have to like get my sweatshirt out. It's so fucking hot in here, and it made this whole thing even more uncomfortable. And I thought like later on, like, is this like a 4D experience that they try to do? You know, like because it's like bright sunshine the whole day and it's not dark, and they just crank up the heat to make it more intense, which would have been a genius move. But I doubt that it was actually the case. That was just like a malfunction in the cinema, I assume. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I never, from the beginning of that film, that Swede, that guy Pele. Yeah, I knew that guy. I didn't trust that guy. He seemed just like the kind of dude that would like text your girlfriend and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good choice.
So my number 3 is this is where I go off into a little bit more obscure films, because I know the first 3 of mine were just standards. There's a film called Terrified that came out in 2017 it's an Argentine film by Damien Rugna. And this, I believe, is still on Shudder. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's still out there on Shudder. And there's a scene. The movie is kind of almost like an anthology of vignettes that center around this town, this like suburban town that has this like an interdimensional connection. And there's a young kid who his reality, he's like I'm going to call him a zombie because he's dead. All right. Yeah. He is reanimated, and he walks into the house that he grew up in or lived in, and he's just seated at the kitchen table, motionless, not saying a word. And he's all just like decomposed and black, but like a recently buried corpse. And that scene, it went on for like way too long and gave me so much anxiety when I watched it as an adult. You know, I mean, I just watched this a few years ago, and that scene just really, I would think about that scene for days after I watched the movie, and just realizing just how creepy and scary it was.
Yeah, that's a good
one. You guys have seen this film?
Oh, hell yeah. I love that film. I think that made my top end list that year when it came out. I thought it was fucking killer. And that scene you're talking about there was fucking fucked up, man, because then there's a scene where, like, is he alive or dead? And, like, give him, like, a glass of milk or something and lay it by his hand. And, you know, it's not moving. Then you see, like, the glass of milk fall over or whatever. It's like, you know, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, it was like really, really well done, man. And I just so uncomfortable, you know.
I haven't seen it. It's on my list. I will ask my favorite website, F Movies, wherever if everything illegal is streamable. So I'll probably find it there.
Yeah, that's a good one. You're gonna enjoy that one, man. That one's it starts off fucking crazy. You know, there's a shower scene in there, and like, yeah, you see.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. All right, my number 3, Mike. You might enjoy this director here, Mr. Rob Zombie. Like, he's hit and miss with me too. Mostly misses, but when he hits, you know, pretty decent hits. And this one here, I watched in the movie theater when I was in, I think it was in high school, maybe like a freshman in high school or whatever. And this one really fucking did it to me, because I was looking forward to this film like for years, hearing, oh, Rob Zombie's making a movie. This is his first big movie. He's making a movie. Cool. You know, I like White Zombie, some of Rob Zombie stuff also, but found out about House of a Thousand Corpses. And I went to the theater to see it with a friend. And this movie is insane, and I still like it. I think it's Rob Zombie's best work besides Lords of Salem. You know, yeah. I love House of a Thousand Corpses, but there's a scene towards the end when shit gets real, when they go meet Dr. Satan. Like, you know, Dr. Satan was terrifying looking, like the makeup job and everything. It's fucking crazy. I mean, you're underground here. You go, these like all these crazy ass like mental creature type experiment mutation type things that Dr. Satan's working on and stuff. Like, he's fucking drilling in somebody's brain. He's doing this, and this the way he looks and his voice is fucking terrifying. So I'm like, oh man, this is intense. But after that scene where they're trying to escape out of there from Dr. Satan, you get to meet Earl Firefly, which I thought was fucking terrifying. He's got this like respirator on him. He's carrying a fucking axe, and he's all burned up and shit. And so his skin's like red and like glossy looking and slimy and stuff. And he has this way he breathes, like with his respirator, and the way it was done in the movies and stuff, like the emphasis on the breathing was really fucking scary, man. It's like, and he's like chasing these kids down with the fucking axe and everything. That one really gave me a run for my money in the theater. Just, you know, hearing it at full volume like that and just on the big screen, I think that really impacted me, and I thought it was terrifying.
Yeah, you know, I'm really rooting for Rob Zombie. Like, you know, like I said, I like Lords of Salem. I kind of feel like if he had did more, you know, films like that, you know what I mean? Like, I would probably appreciate him a lot more. But yeah, that was cool. I remember seeing that when it came out, and I dug it. You know, it was. I just think later on, man, just it's almost for like lack of like effort or something. Some of his films just kind of fell off.
Yeah, he even kind of lost me on Devil's Rejects. Everybody says, "Oh, Devil's Rejects the best, way better than House of a Thousand Corpses," but I don't think so. Devil's Rejects was a bit boring and kind of like really normal, where like A Thousand Corpses was kind of experimental, like everything. You didn't know what the fuck was going on. It felt dangerous to me, you know, because there's so many weird things I've never seen before in a way it was all placed and shot and all that stuff. But, you know, Devil's Rejects is kind of just like a film, a regular film, you know?
When I recently watched The Monsters, I was, first off, I started, and after 10 minutes, I adjusted my TV to black and white because I didn't want to see it in color. And I really thought, like, as an adult, like, who grew up also with the Monsters, because they were like running in Germany too, but like dubbed, of course, but still, like, it was great. And it's like, I wish I had kids to, like, this would be like one of the movies to like watch with my kids, you know, to like get them into the horror stuff. I enjoyed that. It was an okay movie. But like you guys said, like Lords of Salem is like probably his best work, and then it's like hit or miss. I'm not like super keen on him, but I wanted to ask you something, and I just want to have a yes or no. Okay. Rob Zombie's two Halloween movies are better than Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills.
I would say yes.
No. I had to think about it, but yeah, no.
Okay. I really like. I rewatched them like in 30 Days of Halloween, which I also like failed miserably this year. I mean, the second one is so weird, and to me, like the biggest problem with Rob Zombie's Halloween is that everything he does is like white trash. Everything becomes white trash, and why the fuck is Michael Myers taller and stronger than Jason Voorhees in that? The cool thing about Michael Myers was always that he was lean and mean, you know. That was the thing that like I didn't like, but then it was like going back. It's like I liked the first Halloween, and Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends are so terrible. It's just like I like if I go to like my shelf, I would rather put out the Halloween like by Rob Zombie than watching Halloween Ends and Kills again.
Yeah, I liked the first Halloween Rob Zombie did. I liked that one a lot. The second one, it's rough, man. I've rewatched that one a couple times to see like am I missing something here, but it doesn't really do too much for me. But that first one, I dig it because I like Tyler Mane that plays Michael Myers. I like that like version of him where he's like this fucking giant ass brute, like fucking killing machine type character. I thought that was a cool like view of him and stuff, and I liked how he did his own thing with it. Made it his. For the most part, he had a lot of trouble with that film with the executives and stuff trying to tell him how to do this and that. So, and that's what really happened with the second film that he was doing there. A lot of bullshit was going on. So that's what came out of it. But, the first one, I enjoyed that one a lot.
My mom actually likes the Rob Zombie Halloween films. I remember I bought her both of them for Christmas one year, and she actually backs the Rob Zombie remakes. And but I like the more like the less gigantic version of Michael Myers. Like I always envisioned him as being like if Ian Curtis was like a serial killer or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was also my problem with like Jason Voorhees version of Michael Myers and Rob Zombie's movie. Yeah, I also like in the first one just like his steady pace and like killing someone, tilting the head to the right is just so perfect and so menacing. And then I mean, the scene where he kills like the trucker and you see like his teeth fall out and like it's so gruesome. But what I really liked about the first Rob Zombie is like the backstory where you see like young Michael Myers, that creepy looking kid, and I mean that's again like white trash society. But like over time, like I really grew to like that movie.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that.
Okay.
So we're coming down to our the wire here, man.
Okay, it's number 2, right? And it's me.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike and I always, not always, but like a lot of times. Wait a second, Tito's 9. I'm being attacked by a dog. Sorry. Ow. Sit down. Yeah, I know it. Okay, so like we always like a lot of times talk about like the shift in music between 1990 and 1994. Everything changed, and in general, everything like changed in that time. And probably that was the time I was 11 years old in 1990. And that's when the next two things happened. And they pretty much like scared the living piss out of me. And to this day work. Number 2, Stephen King's It, the TV production, which is so much better than the other 2 movies, even though they have parts I wish the old movie had. But Tim Curry's performance as Pennywise is like hands down one of the top 5 movie maniacs of all times, like next to Robert Englund. And but the scene where the Losers Club finally get together to fight off Bowers and his friends, so the rockabilly looking assholes, And then they sit together and talk about their experiences with it. And Mike, the new kid, has this photo book with him. And they talk about it. And all of a sudden, like, he shows all these snippets. Look, there's a picture, like a drawing of a clown that burned down the tent at the circus and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, this book keeps on, like, starts spinning and rests at a picture of a street carnival, and that starts moving, and you can see in the background, I'm literally just getting goosebumps like talking about this, and you see like it in the back, like starting running around doing like flick flack and like tilt wheels, and then running towards the camera. You see him, he points, the music goes and he points, he runs, he disappears because he's going up that pole. And then you see like his hand and his face pulling up. A scene that they just, like in the documentary I just watched about it, like they explain it. And then he looks at them, talks to them, sticks his hand through the picture, and I was dead. Like that scene to this day is giving me nightmares.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that, man. That's my definitive edition of it is, the miniseries and stuff. And Tim Curry as Pennywise, holy shit, so fucking good.
Yeah, totally, man. Tim Curry ruled as Pennywise for sure.
There's a bunch of scenes that I could name from that movie, like the beginning with the girl on the tricycle where he's hiding behind the blankets and everything, and he's waving at her. There's the one where he comes out in the shower, and like the humor he has is also scary. The dinner table, like a lot of shit in there scared me, but it's like him in this black and white picture running towards the camera, and that's a reoccurring thing, which will also feature in my number one spot. Is like when usually you're a bystander in watching movies. For example, you see the slashers kill from a side view, like Michael Myers nailing someone to the wall. You will not see it from his perspective most of the times, but from the side. But if someone in that movie that scares you all of a sudden points in your direction and looks you in the eye, that just kills me. And that's exactly what it is doing. Like you see this picture and he's pointing at you, running towards you, and all of a sudden, like, dick, you see his face in front of you, and that's just terrifying.
Yeah, totally agree. Holy shit, yeah. I'm going to go back and rewatch the miniseries again now.
Yeah.
All right, so my number two is all right, this is a TV show. This is going back to the 70s again. And there was a TV show, or it was actually a TV movie, sorry about that. Trilogy of Terror. Are any of you guys familiar with that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I've seen it.
So basically this was like had 3 vignettes in it. And the third one was a vignette called Amelia. And it was, I've later on found out, because this was tucked in to a collection of short stories by Richard Matheson. It's based on a short story called Prey. And in this story, there's like this little fetish doll that terrorizes Karen Black in her apartment. Okay. And it fucking scared the hell out of you when I was a kid. But the scariest part was the very end, when you think that she's vanquished this little creature by burning it up in the oven. But you see her calmly talking to her boyfriend and on the phone, and like, oh yeah, she come over, and she takes the lock off of the door, and she grabs a knife, and she just crouches in front of the door with this knife, like slamming it into the ground, like waiting for this guy to show up so she can kill him. And then when she smiles, she has these fangs. And I just watched this again, man, because I have it on Blu-ray actually, and I watched it again, and it still fucking scared me, man. The vision of Karen Black, like at the end of the movie, still to this day scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, she was kind of like scary herself without really being, you know what I mean? Like she's very intense, like anything she ever played, and she had like a really intense look about her, like very dangerous feeling,
Yeah, Karen Black's always been like like top fantasy women, I guess. So like I've always had this thing for Karen Black my whole life, I think, maybe as a result of watching this movie.
So in the way, I have something for Patricia Morrison.
Well, actually, Karen, they kind of have the same intense sort of look.
It's like she might kill you or something, you never know. Like she could kill you.
But it would be worth it,
Right.
Hanging out with her beforehand, maybe get a kiss and then get killed. I take it.
All right, cool. So now we're down to our top 2, and I'm on my number 2 right now. And this is going to be a good one, I think. Maybe a nice refresher for a lot of people. But this was a banned episode of X-Files that I got to see live, I believe. I'm pretty sure, because this was a long time ago, but when I first saw this, I'm pretty sure I saw it live because I followed X-Files religiously as a kid. But the name of this episode is Home, and it's from season 4, episode 2. And if you haven't seen this one, this is about a whole bunch of crazy ass inbred family and stuff that keep their mom underneath the bed. She don't have any limbs, but they use her for reproducing other, family members. That's already fucking horrifying as it is.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way they looks and stuff, man, like the special effects and the makeup jobs, that were done on them are fucking amazing. But the scene that gets me is when they're all traveling at night in this like old, I think it was like a Cadillac or something. They're playing this old timey ass music, like some rockabilly type sound and shit. And they got these baseball bats with them. They're just randomly driving, a bunch of like crazy ass looking fucking wrong turn looking, people in this car. And they roll up to this house, this unsuspecting house. It could be anybody. That's what makes it so scary. It could be anybody, just randomly. They roll up to this house here. They walk inside their baseball bats and stuff, and just kill the whole fucking family. You can hear the dad trying to fight back. I think they show the dad fighting back. Looks like he could take care of himself and stuff, but they're so like they overpower him. They're so fucking strong, and it's fucked up, and they're beating him with baseball bats, and that whole scene's just so scary because it's so random, and there's nothing you can do with these guys. They're all fucking gigantic inbred like hillbilly fucking maniacs, and that to me scared the shit out of me as a kid. And that episode was banned forever because this of the content. And you can watch it now. I think it's streaming now. I think you can watch it like with the rest of the X-Files on Hulu. I think not 100% on that, but that was a doozy, and that one still haunts me till this day.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. I got to be honest.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn, I got to get down with that, man. That's like, it's funny because like there's there's 9 seasons of X-Files maybe, and
think so.
like I still don't know if I've seen all the episodes of X-Files.
Man, this one might be streaming on Hulu with the rest. I think Hulu has all the X-Files if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes it changes to Hulu to something else, but I'm not sure if this one's up there. Like I say, you're gonna have to look for it, but I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or something if it's not up there. But it was banned for a long time. Sometimes they were showed on the repeats, like on like a Saturday or something on like some random channel. They're doing like X-Files repeats. This one would pop up there. Man, it's a brutal fucking episode, dude.
What season was it from, or like what was it intended to be part of?
It was season 4, episode 2.
Oh damn! They went hard right out of the gates with that one. If it was supposed to be episode 2, damn.
Yeah. And you won't forget this one, man. It's like taking Wrong Turn, but like making it this super aggressive. Because I thought the first Wrong Turn movie was pretty decent. I saw that in theaters and stuff too. So the whole like inbred crazy hillbilly thing was kind of a big thing. And I think this came out first. I'm pretty sure this is out first. This was I think the late 90s. When the season's out, I believe. But you won't forget it, dude. The whole like scene with the mom under the bed is enough to fucking like, what the fuck am I watching here?
Yeah, like when X-Files came out back then, the one with a worm. I don't know like what the English title for that is, but like the one that's hiding in the vents and everything. It's like,
Tombs.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, that was terrifying as fuck back then. The thing here is the cool thing is that it's on Amazon Prime, and you can like choose like to watch the season, a season by season thing, but you can also activate an algorithm that it will only play the episodes, which is like the continuous storyline, not like the extra episodes. So you can just like, if you just want to see the story progressing, the actual story, that's pretty cool. Like for someone who hasn't seen it and says like, I don't want to go through 9 seasons, like you can adjust that. That's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, that's badass. And yeah, I think the X-Files, even till this day, is one of the best shows ever, especially when it comes to horror sci-fi. I'm not really including the new X-Files they did a few years ago, like when they were coming back for a few seasons. I don't know what the hell that was, but it didn't really do it for me. I'm talking about the original series itself, before the remake, reboot, or whatever it was. But I mean, that's some of the best like shit ever written, I think.
I totally agree on that, man. I love it.
All right, Ralph. So down to your number 2.
No, number 1, man.
Oh shit! I'm always behind on one of my things. Yeah. There you go.
It's number 1 time. Okay. Number 1 scariest scene of all times is the whole dashboard movie.
Yeah.
Dash cam. That's it.
Okay.
just like having this in my head is like the scariest thing ever. No, fuck that movie.
Yeah.
No, I mean I already like kind of almost gave it away because I said like my 2 top things that like traumatized me are both from 1990. And I mean, number 2 has a clown. Number 1 is only a guy with long gray hair and has a jeans jacket, and like he's pretty much wearing a Canadian tuxedo. Jeans jacket, walks sideways, crawls over a couch, and my heart is broken and my brain is melted. I'm of course talking about Bob in Twin Peaks 1990, season 2, episode 2. It's after one of the most cringy things in that whole show, and there's like some cringy aspects. Like one of the things that I really hate, almost like I love all the Cure songs except for Catch, which is like one of the worst songs ever. It's so ridiculous. And it's like the scene where Donna, James, and Maddie are singing this "Just You" song, which is so atrocious. And then all of a sudden in the Palmer house, Maddie has the vision where the camera freezes and you see the living room and the dining area, and the camera is stuck, and Bob, like the music slows down and you see Bob coming sideways from the right side into the room, turning to the left, looking at you, and like walking towards you, crawling over the couch. He like pretty much blows out the frame, and he just comes closer and closer until his face is in your face and it blends out. You hear Maddie screaming. And this is, to me, to this day, hands down, the scariest thing of all times, because it's just, I don't know, man. It's so simple, and it just blows away the thing I said, where it's just like usually you observe from the side or you just see something, but this one is coming towards you. And the whole thing with Twin Peaks and the dark elements of Twin Peaks, it scared the hell out of me. Like, and especially everything with Bob, and this scene to this day is the most creepy ass thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, I agree. Bob's scary.
And it's funny that he is like, it was like the casting of him was by accident, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah, because he was like in that one shot, and like Lynch said action, and he just hit behind Laura's bed, and he's just there tucking down, and then they're like, oh, what the fuck is this? And that's how he got that part. It's insane.
Well, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it's like this famous image where he's like, he has both his hands, I think, on the bars of that bed, and it's just looking through like between his hands, and he was just trying to not be in the frame because he was not out of the picture fast enough. And then like Lynch saw that, and that's kind of like the Lynchian way, which is like, I'm not spoiling this. Maybe I can draw the connection because I think I know what Mike's first one is. So maybe I can draw it. If not, I will connect the dots afterwards. But it's just the thing that happens at the side of the screen, not where your focus is, but something that is just happening and gives you nightmares. And then he's like, okay, I will use that. And that's what David Lynch does so perfectly. And we talked about it, like this, the dream sequence, the dream pace, everything is like this nightmarish characters that are besides themselves. There's so much stuff in Twin Peaks that gave me the creeps, and that's why it holds up so well to me. To me, it's the best TV show ever done. Yeah, and Bob is so, as simple as Bob is, it's so effective and so good. Yeah,
Totally.
So my number one, it wouldn't be a complete list without a reference to Stephen King. So for me at least, and TV show, 1979's Toby Hooper produced Salem's Lot. Okay, now one of the problems I had was there were several scenes in this series that really scared the hell out of me, and still do actually. So the one that I am going to focus on for the purposes of this podcast is the Danny Glick, Mark Petrie window scene where Danny Glick creeps up on him, floats up to him in the ether as a vampire, and is trying to gain entry into Mark Petrie's room. And as a kid, still as a grown man, I have a hard time watching that scene, to be honest. And the way it's shot too, because I think they shot it like backwards or something, because his facial twitches, like Danny Glick's, like the way his face moves and his fucking eyes and everything are just so crazy. And the fact that he's like a kid too, and so close to being to just death, on Mark Petrie's end. So that's probably, but still my number one, scariest scene, that's for my whole life. I've really, found that to be terrifying.
That's a good one. A great film, also a great book. I even kind of dug the sequel a little bit, even though the sequel was not scary. It was just fucking weird. But the scene you mentioned there, yeah, that was terrifying. Holy shit. And I think that should be in like the top 10 most terrifying scenes out of anything, Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. Did they ever remake Salem's Lot? I have a feeling they did. I just didn't see it.
They did a TV series of it, which I enjoyed. I don't know if maybe it was when I watched it, whatever time I saw it, I liked it then. But they remade a TV series. I'm looking it up right now, and Rutger Hauer played the main vampire. So that's that's kind of a plus there. Salem's Lot. Trying to find it right now for you. Yeah, it came out 2004, and it starred it had Rob Lowe. He played Ben Mears in it. And Donald Sutherland's in there. He played He played Straker.
Yeah, dude, like same year. Like, how did I miss that?
I saw this a long time ago when I was renting movies from the library. Like, I didn't know this existed either. And I was, renting DVDs from there. It's like, oh, cool, Salem's Lot, a TV series. I've never heard of this shit before. And that's how I first watched it, was the library rental. But yeah, Rutger Hauer played Kurt Barlow. And I think it's worth a watch. It's not near as good as the actual film itself, but it's interesting. If you can find it, definitely check it out. It's saying you can buy it on Amazon. It's going to be hard to find. You can probably find it on YouTube at all places, or any other places you can find your stuff from, but it might be a little hard to find.
Or F movies, like all the shit.
Yeah. It was a TNT original too, so it came on like regular cable. It was on TNT.
It's just like, for the sake of completion, I need to see that. Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah. So it's like you can rent it for like $4, on Amazon. So that might be worth checking out.
Yeah, totally. I definitely say watch it, because like I said, I enjoyed it, when it was out and stuff. And this is a long time ago when I watched it, so I haven't done any rewatches with it, but I remember it being enjoyable. So.
Right on.
All right. So my number one scariest movie, or I'm sorry, this is a TV show, TV scene. This is another thing that affected me as a young kid, because this came out in 1995, so it's probably like 10 or something. I'm not doing the math on all that, but whatever. But this one got me real good, man. Like especially just still being really open-minded about things. There could be existence of like real werewolves and vampires. Still real open-minded and all that stuff, and the supernatural and everything. But this was an episode of The Outer Limits from '95. It was season 1, episode 11, called Under the Bed. And this one fucked me up for like a month when I was younger and stuff, man. This one takes place, in regular household stuff. We got a couple kids, a brother and sister. They're about to go to bed and stuff. And underneath, I think it was the brother's bed, if I'm not mistaken, he had this little bear under there. And you start hearing the bear talk to him. He's like, "Oh, come on under the bed, come down here and help me out. I need help." It was just a bear with red eyes. Like, oh, that's already kind of creepy and stuff. So the boy's like, "I'm not coming under there. You're scaring me." And eventually, like, he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going under here and grab this bear and stuff and see why it's talking to me and stuff." So he goes underneath the bed and grab this bear that's already got red eyes and talking this weird way to him and stuff. And then you see this giant arm pop up from the other side of the bed and grab this kid and take him under the bed. And it's this big fucking like troll that eats kids and stuff, man. It fucking horrified me for months. I couldn't. I mean, it was so hard to sleep knowing that there might be something under my fucking bed. And it's a fucking troll.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's that's a great series, man. And I don't think I've ever seen that one, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to revisit. And like I said, that was off of season 1, episode 11. And all those older Outer Limits it was like a redo of the Outer Limits, because they had the ones before that back in the day.
Yeah.
Then they came out with these ones in the '90s. I thought they were super creepy. It's like dark, man. Like really good stories. I don't think there's too many I didn't like, but this one here just hit me even more. Just because things under your bed when you're younger and stuff, that's a big fear. Like always like leaving your feet dangling out, something's gonna touch it and shit. But how about have a whole fucking troll under there? Takes you into a cave after he fucking grabs you from your bed, and like pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
And the same time I saw that when I was younger, I don't even know why and where this ran, because I was like when it came to that like scary TV shows, like we had like the only thing we had was American Gothic and Erie, Indiana. Like these shows aired on German TV. And I saw that episode you were talking about too. And about the same time, I was a big fan of the Ghostbusters cartoon show. And there's one episode like in that cartoon where Egon is chased by the boogeyman, like his nightmare, the guy that comes through your cupboard. Like, oh damn, boy, that's the right word? I don't know. Like how do you call the wooden thing where your clothes are in? Your rack? No.
The closet.
Yeah, closet.
Yeah, closet. Yeah, of course. So he comes from the closet and he has like this gigantic head and has like these hoofs. He kind of looks like a Satanist creature, like a Satan creature, and he haunts Egon. And like just like this image of that thing, like terrified me as a kid. And then shortly after, I saw that episode you were talking about, Brandon. And I'm like, help! Like I'm never want to. I don't want to go out of bed because like there's room underneath my bed. Like terrible.
Yeah, when you're young, there's like no place safe because we still believe in things like this. Like we don't know any better. I think that's cool though. I miss that feeling of being scared by things that could or could not be real, instead of being scared by shit that is fucking real. Unfortunately, like life itself. But having that like open-mindedness and stuff. And I still try to keep an open mind about certain things. But back then, like we really believed this kind of stuff. Like, oh, there could be trolls. There could be werewolves out in the woods and stuff. Like I'd be out there hunting with my dad when I was a kid and stuff, going out with him and stuff, and I would believe there's werewolves out here when night goes down. Like, what are we gonna do about the werewolves, Dad? Stuff like that. I miss that time and that openness, the believing in things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon, I just finished that book a few weeks ago, Diary of a Werewolf Hunter.
Yeah, how was that?
I recommend it, man. It's like there's a trilogy, and it's like just like brutal, like very dark kind of action oriented, novel about basically a guy who goes around killing werewolves.
Yeah, I want to check it. I mean, you said werewolves, that already got me hooked on there. Like a lot of these werewolf stories I search for on my app I use for reading and stuff, it turns out to be romantic werewolf stories. There's a ton of those. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, like romance novels. So it's good to
God,
actually see a werewolf story that's a fucking werewolf story.
yeah, this is definitely not romantic, man. It's like kind of like it has like this kind of like hard boiled like vibe to it. I definitely recommend it.
Oh yeah, that's on my list. I'm going through Dean Koontz's book right now called Intensity. I'm
Uh-huh.
checking that one out. I'm on a Dean Koontz kick because I went back and revisited shit, what's the name of that one? Hold on. Watchers. Yeah, because I used to love the movie Watchers was one of my favorite when I was a kid, but it doesn't hold a candle to the book. The book is fucking killer. I just got done with that one like maybe a month ago. I'm like, holy shit, the book is so good. So definitely recommend that if y'all haven't checked that out.
Is there any word on if there will be more Werewolf by Night on Disney, or will it be just like these excellent 60 minutes?
Dude,
I
I
have
hope
no
so,
idea.
man.
Yeah, same. So good.
Oh man. Like it was like, okay, cool, they're doing it, and then it's like, oh man thing is in there. Oh yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, hopefully they continue on with some of the darker stuff and give us more Werewolf by Night because yeah, we're very well done. It's probably one of the best things I've seen on Marvel besides like Loki and a few other things on there I like. So
What I
WandaVision.
what I was wishing, like what I wish is like that they take the Marvel horror thing and make it like like every like an hour episode of one topic, and then in the end like bring them together,
Mhm.
like as a mashup or something. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, totally. And I think that'd be great. And they could work in, I think they should put Moon Knight more as a horror character
Yeah,
as well as Blade. I think
Yep.
that would be killer. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the new Blade movie got dropped as of right now, so that's what I'm
Oh,
hearing. Yeah, but man, I still think Blade's Wesley Snipes to me. Like he's the man. Like the first two Blade movies are fucking masterpieces. And that's so good. I just see him as Blade. It's hard seeing anybody else playing Blade, but he's
but
getting older,
there's
so it's not happening.
but there's references to Blade in the Eternals, and there's reference in She-Hulk in the end, because there's the one guy that supposedly is like one of Blade's sons, and they're talking about the sword and shit. So there's like a lot of references, but they maybe just like leave them dry and like not follow up on them now.
Yeah, from what I heard, the production ceased as of right now. Like, I don't think it's off the table, but something happened where they're not going forward as of this time. Maybe it's just on pause. So,
Yeah.
and the guy they do have playing him, I can't remember his name right now. He is a badass actor, and I think he can take the role and do something with it. It's just weird not seeing Wesley Snipes as Blade. So
Wasn't it supposed to be Mashhad Ali?
I
The guy,
believe so. He was the same guy who did the season 3 of True Detective, if I'm not
right?
mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
really
would
won me
rule.
over on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good actor.
All right. Did we have any honorable mentions? I have a few. I guess if you want me to start with that, if y'all have some honorable
Yeah,
mentions.
yeah, totally. I got some honorable mentions.
I've
Yeah.
got some too. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll start off with mine since I have them right here. The first one, this one almost made my list, but it didn't for some reason. I think everything was kind of edging out just briefly. But Lost Highway. There's a scene in Lost Highway where main characters walk into another closet type thing, like a super dark closet, and he's like walking and walking. It's like a black hole engulfing him. Like
Yeah.
it's the whole Lost Highway in general. The whole film is so fucking dark and eerie and stuff. But just that closet scene was fucking kind of terrifying because I had a thing with closets as a kid. I always had them shut because I figured something was living in my closet. So
Hmm.
seeing him walking, it's like this engulfing him in darkness. And also another thing with Lost Highway that always got me was the mystery man and his video camera.
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh yeah,
terrifying.
man.
Was it Richard Blake, I believe?
Robert Blake.
Robert
Yeah.
Blake, yeah. Richard Blake's the writer, right, or painter? I'm getting confused there. But yeah, Robert Blake. He was already kind of scary looking, anyways, and just seeing him with his white makeup on playing the mystery man was fucking pretty
Yeah.
terrifying stuff.
Well, I think
That,
Robert Blake is an actual murderer too in real life.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah, he
actor.
is. That's right. He shot his wife, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shot his wife, exactly. So yeah, it makes another layer of reality to it.
Oh man.
Extra creepy. And I had one other one too. Let's see here. There's a couple. Yeah, there's this film that came out, and let me look up the date on this. This is like a weird like imagery type thing that used to get me when I was a kid. It was a 1986 film called Gothic, and they had this like pan like character in it who he had like these fucking claws and these like elfish ears and stuff. I'm not sure if he was actually supposed to be Pan. I don't know what he was supposed to be, but if you haven't seen the film, like I think he's a little person as well. I'm not 100% on that. It kind of looks like the kid from Children of the Corn that played the main antagonist. But anyways, it always
Malachi.
scared. What's that?
Malachi.
Yeah. Kind of looked like him a little bit, and yeah, they called him the falsely monster was the name of the character in Gothic, but yeah, this super terrifying. There's a scene where this lady's laying on the bed and stuff, and this like pan type character comes rolling in. He's got these like crazy looking ears. He's got fangs and these long claws. And he like climbs over her while she's sleeping and stuff. Man, that one really fucking freaked me out. And that's from the film Gothic from 1986. Weird ass film.
That's a Ken Russell movie, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking weird, man. That one got me as a kid. So that's my my like honorary whatchamacallits there. I thought should be on the list, but didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
Mike, you want to go or should I go?
Oh, I'll go. Okay, so I got a few. Now, Paranormal Activity, 2007, Oren Peli, the footage of where Katie's like standing over her husband Micah in the bed. It goes on for hours. That's like time lapsed. That scared me. There's Martyrs, the ending where Anna is flayed, and then that ending, that movie just in general is like a very uncomfortable film, very disturbing, and that scene at the end was like a very very heavy scene for me.
Totally.
And going back to Hereditary, where Toni Collette saws her head off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's definitely yeah. I think the scene that got me Hereditary was the scene where what's her name loses her head in the car and everything goes downhill from there.
Totally. Yep.
God damn it, yeah. I was like, well, I didn't see that coming. Horrifying.
that's the quality of that movie. There's so much going on that you can go back and reflect on. Also, the way with the puppet house they did, like zooming in and out of that, it's so well done. And also in the end, when Peter floats into the house, like the soul, like just the way he floats is so fucking creepy. No, it's like his mom, and he follows her, and it's such a dark movie, and it's so well done, and the whole lore of King Payman. I like it when something has that much depth to it that you can watch it 3 times and find new stuff all the time.
Yeah, I actually want to revisit this one. It's been a while since I've watched it, so after all the talking about it today on the podcast, I want to go back and watch it again. So,
it's my turn.
Ralph, yeah.
Okay, I've got a bunch. So a movie franchise which completely blows is Insidious. But like when I've watched the first Insidious and you see like this demon the first time coming out on the side behind the guy, like this short shock moment before you actually see like how dumb this creature looks, but that worked. I remember that shocked me. Remember the time when we had like a lot of Asian movies with black-haired kids and like Ringo and all that stuff, and
yeah,
and that was the first time I really saw where like the Americans redid all these movies and they were all terrible. And that's the same they did with Wreck. And like, for example, Wreck, the end, when it's like unveiled that it's like this weird ass old lady in the night vision, that's scary as fuck.
Yes.
In the first Ju-on, The Grudge, like the original one, where she's scared and she goes to bed, and again, like Ralph lying in bed being scared as a kid, the idea is like, like tucking yourself into the blanket so no one can attack you because you're in that, like almost like a tank to protect you. And in that Ju-on scene, all of a sudden you see like at her legs, like the blanket is lifting up because there's something crawling underneath it. And then she looks down and like opens the blanket with her hands, and you see her face come up. Horrible. Like that was terrible. First phantasm, when the tall man walks down the street and you see him like sideways, and there's Reggie unloading the ice, and like there's this fog coming out, and he's turning towards him and like look at the camera, and Angus Scrimm is like moving his face, like the Rock eyebrow. That scared the piss out of me.
That almost made my list, actually, that scene.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, the first Phantasm has such great moments, and it's a shame. Like, it's kind of like with Hellraiser, that like you watched the others back then and you thought they were kind of good. But I mean, I remember, like Mike, I told you about me getting like the box, the Arrow, and this is like I watched all 5 Phantasm movies, and it's only the first one that's really good. The rest is like,
no, totally, yeah.
I like the second one a lot. You don't like the second one? I thought the second one was killer. The first 2 are my favorites.
It's kind of like with Hellraiser. It works. I still like it, but it's not as good as I remembered it to be.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree on that. They're still fun to rewatch, though, even though because it gets so crazy, man. Especially the further you go down, like 3 and stuff, it goes nuts. But they're still fun, and there's something really creepy about the way they're filmed and some of the like makeup effects that were used on some of the like things and stuff. It's still creepy, dark.
Yeah. Also, as just Angus Scrimm, he works, but he cannot lift the whole weight, and like the last one is just trash. It's like utter garbage.
Yeah, man. The last one was Ravager. That was terrible.
Oh. Yeah, okay, more Blair Witch. It's the overall thing in Blair Witch, but like when they go down into the house and you hear her screaming, and you see the guy standing in the corner, that gave me the creeps. The Descent. Which is good because it's not funny. It was like a really nice positive thing back then where all films like were like kind of winky-eyed. The Descent was just harsh and dark. But there, the scene where she gets stuck in the tunnel, like when she crawls through that super small space, and like I was sitting in the cinema alone, like in a late night, and it was just everything was dark, and you just saw that tiny light, and you hear like the stones move, and it was just like I had trouble breathing because I'm claustrophobic, so that was scary. Poltergeist, where the tree hand like scratches at the window, and then like the bed turns around and she gets sucked into the closet again. Closet, beds. And I'm really like shocked, Mike. No reference to The Exorcist.
Well, I had it down here, but it's hard to say like any particular scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was like the scene where she comes down and pees on the floor and tells the astronaut that you're gonna die up there. You know what I mean? I don't know if that really stands up against the rest of the movies, the rest of the scenes that I have.
Because on my number 7 spot, and it's not like one of the things where you would think like like the spider walk in director's cut or like the scene you described. It's the fucking Captain Howdy faces appearing like in the middle of the dream sequences, for example. But then the one where she goes into the kitchen and you see it in the top left corner in the dark, it's just like really subtle. There's this face coming up, and this to this day is like one of the most creepy things that happens in that movie. So yeah, that would be my closest runner up. It was like The Exorcist, the Captain Howdy thing. But yeah, I mean, I could go on, but these would be like my it's like, I mean, that's cool.
Top 100.
Top 100, yeah. Like, I mean, you had that show, right? Wasn't there a show? Like,
one showed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because I think we went different with it. We have a bunch of other shit that they didn't cover on the show, so I think that's pretty badass.
Yeah,
they had a lot of stuff on there that I thought was not scary at all, actually.
Yeah,
that's killer. Hey, speaking of Captain Howdy, y'all remember the Twisted Sister song? Captain Howdy.
Yeah, man. Actually, that's a very obscure reference, though. But yeah.
And it's fucking good. It's heavy. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Crisis did a cover of that as well. And if you haven't heard that from the Crisis back in the day, that's a fucking
You mean
awesome
like
cover.
the Karen Crisis band, like the
Yeah,
New
yeah,
York-based
yeah,
band? I didn't
yeah,
know they covered that song. Interesting.
yeah. I heard about that years and years ago. And that made me look up the Twisted Sister song. I was like, oh, this is cool. So I'm pretty sure it's got to be reference to fucking, Exorcism. Hoping, I'm sure it is. I mean, but
What?
unless that's just a hell of a coincidence, I don't know. You know.
No, I know that Dee Snider's a big horror guy, so yeah, it's got to be.
It's there's I mean, you guys know that I'm a pro wrestling fan, and like for a while now I have just been watching AEW, but now Vince McMahon, that old cunt, is finally gone from WWE. So Triple H is taking over, and he's bringing back all the people that got fired, and they've got one guy called Bray Wyatt, and he's like he's a super horror fan, and he created a character a while ago called the Fiend, where he had like this alter ego with a mask that was done by Tom Savini, and it looked fucking badass, and it had like these nightmare sequences. The first incarnation of him as a figure was kind of like this clan, like this cult leader that looked like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear, but it was like from the swamps and had like the Wyatt family with Manson references. So everything that guy did is like fucking badass. And like while he was fired, he even did a horror movie, which is supposed to come out soon. And now he's back in WWE, and like he came back as Bray Wyatt, and he's like talking into the camera and apologizing for the horrible things he did. And all of a sudden there were like these disturbing noises and these cutaway scenes where like a disgruntled, like ugly, burned face appears in camera and talks like in this maniac voice and talking about his inner demons, how he cannot escape his darkness. And then he's like, oh no, my Captain Howdy is back. I'm like, what? It's like, okay. So like there's even like he's doing like, and that, like most of the wrestling fans don't get it. They're like, Captain Howdy has like a different origin than like the Bray Wyatt thing. But like, yeah, he has like these so many alter egos that they talk about him being like 6 personas now, and one of them is Captain Howdy. So I thought that reference was pretty cool and shows that Bray Wyatt is like a horror nerd.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, because that's some deep dive and shit there. Badass. Well, this has been a fucking great episode, man. This has been a lot of fucking fun.
Yes.
I think we should do this more often for sure, like at least a couple times a year, if not more. Like, pick a subject and go, do a long ass episode on it, deep dive and stuff. Because had a lot of fun with this. It's always a pleasure talking with y'all too. I mean,
I'm always down. I'm always down for doing this kind of thing for sure, man.
And it's cool that like these crossover things, like in the comic books, that there's all these crossovers between the different podcasts where like everybody appears everywhere. And that's fucking cool.
It's great. I'm proud to be part of it. It's so cool, and this is really awesome. So we gotta do this more often, and we gotta keep the Horseman of the Podcast Apocalypse alive.
Hell yeah, man.
So hard to say sometimes. So I write that shit down that way I don't get too tongue tied, because I'd be damn, man. I'd be doing like takes in here with my intros. I'm like, I gotta fucking write this down. I'm gonna get tongue tied on it.
I don't think I've ever gotten it right, honestly.
Yeah, I keep that shit in my notes. That's the only reason I get it right. But it's so cool and it has a lot of impact. And it's a great name, and it's really original and stuff. So I'm like, it's fucking cool.
I'm already calling dibs on the next idea, and maybe you guys want to be part of that. Like, I mean, one of you has to record it, because I don't know jack shit about recording podcasts, but we're always so serious, and like, we're funny guys. Let's do the top 5 most overrated horror movies of all times.
Oh man.
I'm down. Hell yeah.
I got a deep list for that one.
I think that would be just so fucking hilarious to talk about all the cringy bullshit people pull as horror movies. So if you ever want to do this, I'm game.
Yeah, put that on the list of like episodes we're gonna do for sure. That's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a list on that one too for sure. Fuck. All right. Well, I hope y'all have a killer rest of your weekend and stuff. And Yeah, when y'all meet up and stuff for the show, hope y'all have fun there, and we will
Oh,
talk again soon.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Have a good one.
yeah. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Take care.